just doing my next video in my little series on baby carriers that I have. So the carrier that I will be reviewing and doing a tutorial on today is the Moby Wrap. Probably a lot of you have heard of it. It's pretty popular. And so I thought I would tell you just some of the advantages and disadvantages and how this thing works. First of all, I can just show you what it is. Basically, it is a huge, long piece of fabric. It's kind of stretchy, and it runs retail for about $50. And I found mine at our children's consignment store for about 20 bucks. So that was a great steal. You can definitely find a lot of these carriers at children's consignment shops for much more affordable prices. I really like using my Moby Wrap when my babies are still really small. It's really great for, you know, smaller infants, I'd say like 6 months and younger. You can use it with older babies, but like the stretchiness of this thing doesn't quite make them as secure once they get to be a little bit bigger. So, but for a young infant, this thing is fabulous. When it's on, it almost feels like you're pregnant again because it's just so cozy. The one big downside of this thing is that it is kind of cumbersome. Like I said, just being a big, long piece of fabric. It takes a little, I mean, some people get really good at doing it fast, but I find that, you know, it is kind of cumbersome and it takes a little effort and time to get this thing on and off, and you have to learn how to do it. So because of that, I don't really ever take this thing out of the house. The Moby Wrap is what I use mostly for when I need to do baby wearing around the house, when I'm getting things done or when I'm playing with my toddler, that kind of thing. Because when you're at home, you don't have to worry about, you know, the fabric like dragging on the ground and, you know, getting dirty and that kind of thing. It's just a great home carrier to have. So the downside is not the greatest carrier for out and about, in my opinion, but at home it is my favorite for the first 6 months. So let me show you how this thing works. So as I told you, it's this huge, long piece of fabric. And what you do with this thing is it's actually not quite as complicated as it looks. Like, it takes a little time, but it's not that hard to do once you get the hang of it. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. So what you do is, you see it's kind of wide like this. What you do is you just kind of fold it in half, lengthwise, like long way. And the little tag on here indicates the center of where it is. So you want that to be on your front. And so get this nice and flat and straight. So you put it over your belly like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it around your back like this and pull the side up over your shoulder. And then you do the same with the other side. Pull this side up and over your shoulder. So then you've got this crisscross going on in the back here. So then you have the two sides hanging down. Me showing you how to do this takes a lot longer than it actually does when you're just doing it, because you can do it, you get really good at it and you can do it a lot faster. But for the sake of showing you, I'm doing it slowly. So then you have these two pieces hanging down, and you want to gather them up and put them down through the waist part. Just kind of stuff it down below there. And then you kind of want them to crisscross in the front like that. And I leave just a tiny little bit of slack here so that there's room for baby in there. And then you have these pieces, you just tie them around. You can either tie them in the back like this or bring it all the way to the front and tie it in the front. Just get that tied there. All right, so then you're ready to put your baby in. I have little Miss Sophie with me here. Sophie is now 7 weeks old. Can you say hi to YouTube world? So there are a few different kinds of holds that you can actually do with the Moby, and the first one I'll show you is the newborn hold. It's called like the kangaroo hold or something like that. We needed Minky. Okay, so what you do for the newborn wrap is she's almost too big to do this now. whoops, because she's, you know, getting so big now. She's in 3-month clothes, but I'll still show you how it's done anyway. All right, so for the newborn wrap, you want to wrap their little legs in the fetal position like this. And you can either tuck them in so that they're sideways like this or facing you. And I prefer to have them facing me. It's just more comfortable to me. Although when they're really a newborn, the side way can be better, just because, you know, then they can breathe a little easier. The fabric isn't over their face and it's kind of cradling them a little bit more. But I prefer to put her in facing me. All right, so you can just kind of tuck her into that panel there. And then you have the other panel under there as well. And you're also going to wrap that little bit around her little bum. You just kind of overlap them like that. And you want baby to be kissable. So she's right under my chin. She's actually a little high, but it works. And you just stretch that fabric out over baby. And then you want to take the waist panel and you're going to pull that up over her little bum and just spread the fabric out so it's holding them really secure. And make sure that she can breathe, make sure that her airway is clear. And once, you know, if their head is still floppy, she has pretty good head control now, but when their heads are still floppy, you just tuck their little head in like that and it holds it up quite nicely. So that's how you do the little kangaroo newborn hold, or like I said, when they're really new, you can put them in sideways so that their face is a little bit more free for breathing. So the next one I wanted to show you is very similar to the other one, but this is once they get to be a little bit bigger, and she's starting to be just about big enough that I can do this hold with her as well. And all you're going to do, instead of tucking their little knees in the fetal position, you just have them hanging down. You stick one leg through one of the panels so that it comes all the way through. And then you stick their other leg through the other panel, and then you kind of jiggle them down till they're comfy. And then pull that fabric up over their back. The great thing about this is that it is great for their hip development because you can pull it all the way up to their knees, and that makes a little seat, and that's really good for baby's hip development, unlike the baby Bjorn like I mentioned in my other review. Then you do the same thing. You then pull that middle panel up over the back, and if you want a little more head support, just like the other, you just pull that up over their head and they're nice and cozy in there. And if you're trying to adjust for comfort, one thing I like to do is just make sure that all of the fabric is spread out instead of bunched up. So as you can see, it's kind of bunched up on my shoulders here to make it more comfortable and to spread the weight out a little more evenly on your shoulders. You just kind of pull the fabric down like that. And it actually makes it really comfortable. I mean, it hardly even feels like I'm wearing her, and it's just so cozy. As you can see, she just fell right asleep when I put her in there. She loves this thing. So that's how you do the hold for a baby that's starting to get a little bit bigger and their legs can be out. Girl, she's such a sweetheart. Thank you. Yeah. The last one I want to show you is the forward-facing hold, so that baby is facing out. And that's great for babies that are social and like to be looking out towards the world. But anyway, I will show you how the forward hold works. All right, so it's just the same as the hold where they're facing you, except for they're just facing out. So you find the one panel and you put one leg all the way through. Always make sure you have a secure hold on baby. You don't want to be dropping baby while putting them in the carrier. For obvious reasons. So, okay, so then they're facing forward, and you just wrap that fabric around them this way. And you pull up that front panel. It's just the same routine as all the others. And there we go. We have a little front facing baby. And if they want their arms out too, you can just pull their little arms out. And there we go. So there you have it. Those are the three main ways that I use the Moby Wrap. I know that there are even more other ways to carry baby, even using it for a back carry with baby on your back. I have never been quite adventuresome enough to try that, but I find that just for these holds it works fabulously. And as you can see, she really likes the Moby, and I really like the Moby. It's just so comfortable, and like I said, it feels like being, the closest thing to being pregnant again, just having them in the front and just so cozy. So I definitely love this Moby Wrap, and highly recommend it for use around the house. Some people really do like taking it out of the house too. That's just how I use it. One way to get around, dealing with how cumbersome it is when you're out and about is to just put it on like this at home, and then, go where you're going, and then put baby in when you get there, and you just kind of wearing it almost like a jacket. That's another way you can do it for being out and about. Another nice thing about this is that it can actually keep you kind of warm. It keeps you and baby warm. I have taken her out for walks this way. When I'm with my toddler, I push him in the stroller and I put her in here. And it keeps both her and me really warm, which is nice. If it's a little bit chilly outside, you can just like pull these down a little bit more over your arms if you are feeling a little extra chilly. And so that's nice. We live in the Pacific Northwest, so that's handy for a good portion of the year. Anyway, so that's it for my review for the Moby Wrap. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that about the Moby Wrap, feel free to leave a comment below, and be sure to stay tuned. I'll be doing a few more reviews of the other carriers I have as well, and I will have all of my carrier reviews linked down below. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome, and thank you so much for checking out Eat, Pray, Crunch, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to see more videos like this coming up. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!